Okay, so let's do some applied problems now. Now, when you're working with linear equations, a lot of times it will help to let y equal the total amount of something, and that will be gotten or obtained by adding a fixed amount, which is b, and an amount that changes, which would be m times x. Okay, and we've talked about this before. We have a changing amount that is m times x. We have a fixed amount that is b, our y-intercept, and you add those to get the total. Okay, so in the first example it says I pay $30 for iTunes Match, which is like this program that if I put a CD in my computer, the music automatically shows up in my iPad without me having to plug it in, so it's kind of cool. But it's like 30 something a year, which is kind of a lot of money, but it's still kind of cool, because then if my computer crashes, all the music is already there. I don't have to re-put it on, because I have like 3,000 songs on my CDs. I have a stack of CDs, and I don't want to have to re-burn them every time. Okay, so anyhow, oh, that was a message from me asking me if I'm going to a Christmas party that I'm not going to. But anyhow, so my fixed amount is $30 a year. And then sometimes I will buy movies on iTunes, and usually they're around $9.99. If they're much more than that, I'm probably not going to buy them on iTunes. I'll probably just use DVD or Blu-ray and like not have them on my iPad. But if they're $9.99, maybe I'll put them on my iPad. So anyhow, let's work this out. So X will be the number of movies that I have, because that I can control, and Y is the total cost of iTunes per year, and that is controlled only by controlling X. So this is my dependent variable, and X is independent variable because it affects other things, but other things don't affect it. Okay? So if I look in the X direction, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 spaces in my graph. So I could go up to 14 when I graph. I guess before I even do that, let's actually write our equation now. So the equation is going to be y equals m. M is the $9.99 per movie, times X, which is the number of movies, plus my fixed amount was $30, okay? Now, to graph this and to make a nice scale, I have enough room on my graph for 14 movies if I go by ones. So suppose I did buy 14 movies. Let's see, what would my biggest Y value be if I actually did go out and bought 13 movies there, 14 movies there. So if I plug that in, and I've got to wait for my calculator to come up here, this is going to tell me the maximum Y value that I would have if I use my maximum X value of 14. Okay, if I was going to do more than 14, I'd probably make my graph longer this way. But I want to fill out my graph, kind of, try to get it as full as possible and use the space to the best advantage here. So I take 9.99 times 14, and actually I guess I could have done 10 because that's close to 9.99, plus 30, and that gives me 169.86. So let's say I have about $170 as the largest amount that would fit on this graph. And here I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 spaces. So if I divide that by 14, that'll tell me how much to make each space worth. So 170 divided by 14. Okay, it says go by 12. So you know what? I think I'm going to just go by 10s. That won't quite get me the whole graph being full, but it's easier to go by 10s than to go by 12s. I suppose I could go by 20, but that would make my graph kind of short. So I'm going by 10s every time, all right? So let's say that I don't buy any movies. So I'll make a table here, and when X is 0, my Y value would be what? Well, I could use the table feature, or I just look at this. If you plug in a 0 there, you're going to get 30 for Y. So I start at 30. That's my Y-intercept. And I go up $9.99 for every movie, so I go up not quite 10, and then over 1. and do that again and again and again, and this is roughly, whoops, that's kind of ugly. This is roughly what my graph is going to look like, okay? And if I wanted to get a more accurate picture, then I would plot more points there. Somebody keeps emailing me or texting me. I don't know why they're doing that. Okay, so I should have made a table there, but I just kind of did a rough sketch for you because I didn't want to take too much of your time with this. Next one, Exterminator charges $40 to make a home visit plus $35 an hour. So if X is equal to the number of hours, as it often is, and Y is the total cost of the visit, then the equation would be Y equals 35X plus 40. Now, I have 14 spaces on the graph. So if I multiply 35 by 14, this is going to drive me cuckoo. Quit bugging me about that. 35 times 14. How can they even be thinking about Christmas parties already? It's like November. Okay, 35 times 14 plus 40. And that gives me 530, okay? And then I had 14 spaces, so if I divide that by 14, I end up with 37. So I guess I could go by 30 every time, or I could go by 40 every time. That would be okay. So let's go by 40, 80, 120. I almost want to go by 50s because it's easier, but that's okay. 160, 200, and so on. And then I would make a table. So 0, 1, 2, 3, and so on. You don't need to pick a lot of points, just pick a few. And then here I'm going to graph Y equals 35X plus 40. And this time I am going to use a table. So let me hit clear here and then table. And I'm going to do 35X plus 40. And I will start at 0 because if you're starting at the number of hours you're there, it doesn't make sense to have negative hours. And I'm going to do auto. And for 0 hours, you spend $40. And let's see here. For 1 hour, it's $75. And for 2 hours, it's $110. Whoops, 2 hours is there. I went over too far. And let's skip ahead a little bit. Let's do 8 hours. Let's say the guy stayed there 8 hours. Maybe there were really big bugs there. I don't know. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I'm at 320. So there's 200, 240, 280, 320. Oh, they're going to drive me cuckoo. So 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And 320. And I should get a linear equation, which I do. So that is how I graph. It's a little harder to do up and over when your slope is 35 over 1 and you're not really going by ones. So in cases like that, you saw that I used the table feature, and that's just another way that you can graph, all right? And you've seen here that you will use linear equations whenever you have a fixed amount and a changing amount. That's usually what you're going to do. So hopefully you found this helpful, and hopefully people will quit sending me 500 text messages about the Christmas party that's like a month away. So I will talk to you later.